Welcome to the Data 4's. I'm Charlie Apigian.
And I'm Charlie Yielding. And today we're talking about AI predictions to fear.
And it's 4 AI predictions to fear. So what do we mean by fear? So we keep hearing about AI. We keep hearing about what the future is. Are we going out 2 years, 5 years? Are we just, this is just the future kind of stuff, right? So with that, let's get right to it.
Well, it's, we were talking about this earlier, and there seems to be a lot of confusion and, a lack of understanding about what AI is, what it's capable of, and those types of things. And so, that lack of understanding generates fear naturally.
Sure.
And so let's talk about these and try to dispel as much as we can, but also highlight some things that you actually should be worried about.
Yeah, and somebody said it to me, and it's really resonated with me. This is the first time in maybe our history that in 5 years we have no idea what the world's going to look like.
Yeah,
I mean that it makes sense why predictions can be fearful in the AI space. So number one, let's see, I'll go. Let me go?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, we're still figuring all this stuff out, folks. AI will take our jobs. Okay, I actually spoke a couple of days ago, and I said within the next 2 years, I have this thing about the stages of AI, and we'll probably get to that in one of our episodes here. But the next stage where we go, we are going to see an elimination of jobs that are repetitive and hard to hire.
Yeah.
And Charlie, I think that's 50% of the jobs out there.
There's a lot of jobs like that.
Now, does that mean the job is eliminated and you're fired, or does that mean it's redefined? I
think a redefinition is more in line, because we've even said that. I mean, it goes back to the AI is not going to directly replace your job, but there are people that wield AI that will, because they'll be able to accomplish a lot more than somebody not using AI.
Yeah, so I think that fear of job, I think what you need to fear is the redefinition or the training that you're going to need to do, a different mindset moving forward on how you're going to do things. I think all of that is going to be really important. So if you're thinking, I'm going to do the same thing for the next 20 years, it's not going to happen.
Absolutely not.
No.
And that is, you can't overstate that. And that's what I'm trying to get at here, is by overstating as much as possible. It's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, even, servers in restaurants, there will be changes to some of the stuff they do. Not as much as the telemarketer, right? Or the customer service agent that a chatbot is going to completely take over. Here's something I was also just kind of going to with the jobs. I'm not just thinking U.S., I'm thinking globally.
Okay.
What about the call centers that are offshore? Do we need those anymore?
Well, it's all about adoption.
Yeah.
So as adoption goes up, then no.
There's always going to be a need for somebody to solve a problem. And but we are using offshore as the low-level stuff right now.
Yeah.
And if it gets escalated up, maybe it goes to somebody that's more, with a technical base within the organization. But AI, voice by itself will be AI generated real soon, and it'll sound like somebody from North Texas instead of India.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, those exist right now. They're just kind of like in a can, pre-trained models, but we're about to get like real deal power at a small business level, and in a way that, enterprises are already losing their grip on like entire markets. And if you as a small business have the power of, an enterprise essentially with all the automation you can set up in your business and all the insights you can get and stuff, then I feel like the whole market as it stands is going to be, it's going to be new in the very near future.
Yeah, and I think this is worthy of an entire episode. I know we're going to say that a lot in the Data 4's, but we will do one on the future of jobs for sure. Number 2, people will be lazy and allow hallucinations When we say hallucinations, what is a hallucination?
It's just when we said it in one of our earlier podcasts that AI can be confidently incorrect.
That's right.
And now it's got a term.
That's right. Hallucinations, again, meaning that something stated about Charlie yielding, if you were to ask ChatGPT, which it probably isn't getting us yet. By the way, perplexity.ai, if you put in Charlie yielding, you'll be impressed.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty good. And it will also find your company and they'll say, would you like to learn more about G2 Wireless? Or, and then if it did it for me, it said, would you like to learn more about the Belmont Data Collaborative? And I was like, pretty impressive.
Neat.
And it gave you the link too. So you could go directly to the website. So, there's those out there, for sure. But the hallucinations would be that it says that you're 7 feet, 2 inches tall, which of course we know that you're only 7'1".
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yes. But obviously it's anything that it's confidently saying is correct, but it's actually not.
Yeah. And so it's important to know that that can happen because that means that humans have to crawl over everything that's put out from AI.
Yeah.
Because it can be wrong. And so that's a part of training the model to not be as wrong as much as possible. But in the current situation that we're in, it can be.
Yeah. And I think what that then goes to is if you write 1,000 words using an AI bot of some sort, you got to kind of go over those.
You have to edit
words. Yeah. Yeah. So we will become better editors than writers.
Yeah.
I think I like to write better than edit.
I think, it goes back to preference.
Yeah. I like to do both. And, when we could do the AI positive predictions, I know we'll talk more about the creativity side that is spurred through letting ChatGPT start it for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good one. I don't know. What do I really want to become that much of an editor? We'll see. I like that one. We're going to keep moving along here.
And so I'll go ahead and get the next one.
Okay. Number 3.
So the confusion regarding AI could be too much, and it just generally cause a backlash where we take a lot of actions without actually knowing the impact of those actions. And so we've seen like a couple of sensational stories, and it's hard to tell like how things are going to look in the future. And so
and I think fear comes from confusion, not understanding. And I will say this, I don't think this is a prediction.
What do you mean?
It's already happening. Therefore, it's not something we're predicting. It's literally happening now. It's going to get a lot worse, right?
Yeah.
And so what I mean by that is I'm talking to a lot of companies, individuals, they're confused. They don't understand really what AI is at its core. They think ChatGPT means AI and that it's never existed before. But then I'm like, really the father of AI is Alan Turing from the 50s. And it's been around a while because we've been automating human tasks, the definition of artificial intelligence, since the ancient times, but really with technology for the last 60 years.
Right.
We just saw a major, kick in the teeth last year with generative AI stepping up the game. But it did not start last year.
No.
And so we see a lot of confusion on what it really is. And so I go to that. I mean, the simplest, I actually put this in my last presentation. My first version of AI was Clippy. Remember Clippy from Microsoft Office? Basically spell check, or an assistant that it would ask you a question and it would generate some type of answer for you. Spell check is generative AI. If you think about it, it sees something and it generates what it should be.
Okay.
It's a rules-based version, though, right? It's not based on a large language model.
Right.
Rules-based generative artificial intelligence, where now everything's based on the large language models, which, of course, changes the game on it. So confusion is real.
Yeah.
And where there's confusion, there will be fear.
Yeah. That's for sure. And so like it's kind of like there's been an AI explosion and there's so many things to look at all at once. It's like, where should you start?
Oh, and what are you seeing from employees?
Well, so I live in a world that talks about AI a lot. And so I get really surprised by the lack of people's attention on AI. And so coworkers recently, I've been involving AI in almost every single conversation.
Gotcha.
And watching them like learn some new stuff is really satisfying for me, because I'm showing them how to save time in their everyday lives and, get more time back for themselves while also accomplishing a goal. But the fact that they didn't know that, and it's been, out there for this long, is, I don't know, it's hard for me to wrap my head around, because like my close friends, that's all they talk about is AI and AI products and like all this type of stuff. And because there's just so much to talk about, and it's fun.
Yeah. In here, in an academic institution, we want to embrace it. Mm-hmm. But when I talk about it, I still get blank stares.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that people are dinosaurs. They want to embrace it. But what you see is the average person, that's usually what's happening.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm really enjoying talking publicly about AI, because I feel like I can simplify it down to a level. I hope I do it here a little bit. And I think that takes some of the fear off a little bit. Oh, that's all it is.
Yeah.
I can go through a lot of different examples, but I think confusion is real. Confusion equals fear, makes sense. And of course, I say, yes, it's here today, but it's going to get worse.
I believe so. But I think we're maybe at an inflection point or close to it, because there's, like, as I'm showing this to people, like they're telling their loved ones and friends and stuff like that. And so it started to spread in a real, like, I have experience with this way, and now you need to experience this too, because I didn't know this a day ago. And now I've got all this, all this time, again, or, something's easier.
But I'm wondering if people are going to say, but that's going to be a fad. Like, I had somebody say to me today, is this just another Y2K?
Oh,
and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well, I can see how some people could have thought that, but I think we're getting to the point to where that's going to be a less and less common.
I think that's like saying the internet's a fad.
Yeah,
right? For sure.
I mean, there's definitely a reason that we're talking about AI so much at the Analytics Summit this.
That's right. That's right. And yes, this year we will be the podcast at the Analytics Summit here in Nashville, October 2nd and 3rd. It's coming up here soon. And we, by the way, we've been posting about it, and you can still get a promotional discount. And we'll look that up and make sure that we add it in our show notes for this podcast and the others that are coming out here in the near future. As well. And yes, we are really looking forward to being that the only podcast at this year's Analytics Summit with more AI.
With more
10
AI.
hours of programming is what they said this year. So it's not just analytics, it's AI, it's data science, it's data, and it's analytics as well.
Yeah. I mean, from a data perspective, Nashville is definitely the place to be. So I'm excited to be there.
And yes, and you can go to that and then go out to your bachelorette parties afterwards. And but we get people from probably 8 states. It's usually the Southeast. We get a lot of good people to come.
I'm foreseeing a nationwide presence in the very near future.
I like hearing that.
The quality of the information coming out of this group is second to none.
There you go. All right. Last one, Charlie. I'll let you do this one too, because AI will become what?
Sentient.
All right. Sentient is a word that we have to explain.
Yeah. So sentience is aware of itself in a way that it has emotions.
Is that the same as singularity?
Honestly, I don't know.
So singularity really refers to the fact that it will also become uncontrolled and we won't be able to stop it.
Oh, it could. Yeah. I think there's arguments that it could be either or, but I think singularity is typically implied by
a sentient being.
Yeah. Like if it wakes up, it makes its own choices.
Yes. And it's the kind of things where it won't make decisions on what's best for humans.
Yeah.
It'll make it for what's best. And that's the singularity. And so if it becomes aware, then it almost wants to preserve itself versus preserving us.
It's a possibility. It's definitely like the doom and gloom kind of conspiracy theories about how it's working right now are not wrong when it comes to sentient AI.
Wow.
But the thing that everybody's afraid of is that, like, the GPTs of the world are going to get so advanced that they become sentient. And I think that, at least I'm happy that some of the folks that are running my circles have learned enough about AI to know that the model on which current AI stands, it's impossible to become sentient.
Yeah, for sure. But when we get into things like quantum computing, which I know we're going to talk about in one of the data 4's here, maybe it's not as far off as we think.
It's a definite possibility.
Yeah. All right. We got 4 done. We said AI will take our jobs. People will become lazy and allow hallucinations. Number 3 was confusion equals fear. And then 4, AI will become sentient.
Or not.
Yeah. And with that, any parting shots?
None.
All right. We did it again. And we're going to continue to do these data 4's every other week. Folks, please, we hope to see you at the Analytics Summit this year. Again, October 2nd and 3rd. Look in our show notes for a promo code as well as the link to register. We'd love to see you, and we'll interview you.
Yeah, come by.
That's right. We will be there front and center. And with that, I'm Charlie Apigian.
And I'm Charlie Gilden.
And until next time.